Hello, I'm Andy Rudge, job broker for Forwards Employment. Delighted today to be joined by Andy Lewis MBE, a Paralympian who has very kindly joined us today to talk about his own life experiences and help our customers on their journey to paid work. Andy, thanks for joining us this morning. Tell me about yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm Andy Lewis, and I am 2 times world, European, and Paralympic gold medalist who was awarded an MBE in 2016 by the royal family.
How did you motivate yourself to achieve?
Okay, so I was ran over by a lorry when I was 16, and I suppose for me, I've always had a sense of wanting to do my best. I mean, who doesn't? Let's be honest. But I suppose it was, for me, people kept putting me down. People kept telling me that I couldn't achieve things. People kept, I don't know, making me not feel very good about myself. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have some sort of small goals to try and achieve along the way. And I had to get some help with that. I had to get someone to put my hand up and say, look, I need some help. I want to achieve these goals, but how do I go about it? So for me, it was writing down and creating some very short goals, some steps along the way, because ultimately, if we aim too high too soon, we will fail. We need to take baby steps and understand that every time we take those steps, we are achieving or moving towards that end goal. And that, for me, was the motivation that kept me going right up until the point where I said, right, I won a Paralympic gold medal. You said I couldn't do it. Look what I've achieved.
How do you deal with setbacks?
So as you can imagine, at the age of 16, just about to join the military, being run over by this 38-ton articulated lorry, that was a massive, massive setback in my life. It was definitely not expected. And for me, it was tough. I think about it now, and it just sort of frustrates me now, even if it actually happening. But it's one of those things where it's happened. There is nothing you or I can do about that, and it's a case of accepting it and moving forward. And setbacks are going to happen throughout everyone's life. Nobody in this world is a superhero, and as much as we want to achieve, there will always be things and hurdles that come up along the way, and that is just life. And it's just about accepting that and moving forward. For me, I tend to find that if I've come up against something that I've experienced before, I try and think back to that time of how did I handle this before? How did I get around this? If it's something new that I haven't come across, then again, people out there, ask for help, ask for advice, because I can assure you, if you come across something that you're trying to do and you're struggling, someone else, probably someone older than you with a bit more life experience, but someone else would have come across that before and will be able to guide you and support you in the right direction. Because for me, if it wasn't for those people throughout my journey of losing my leg, mental health issues, my dyslexia and ADHD that we found out I had after school, because I had a massive issue in education in school because it wasn't identified back then. If it wasn't for the people that I started to work with then, I don't believe that I would be here today, one, talking to you, but also actually of achieving what I've achieved.
Can you share an experience you've had with an employer and what it taught you?
Yeah, so an experience I've had with an employer is I was invited to do an interview. So I was invited to attend an interview, and for a very big organization, worldwide organization. And on arriving at that interview, having a leg missing and a prosthetic leg, they went straight to the stairs to go up the stairs. Now, in my heart of heart, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not very good at stairs with one leg. This is going to be interesting. Do I tell them that I've got a leg missing, before I even sit down in the office with them and be open and say, excuse me, I'd like to use the lift if that's possible? Or would they expect them to have asked? Now, when I look back now in hindsight, ideally they would have said, are you okay with the stairs or the lift? But they didn't. And the way that I just dealt with it was I just went with it, followed them up the stairs, got to the top of the stairs. They said to me, oh, have you got something wrong with your leg? And I literally said, no lies, yeah, I've got a bad leg, because I did. So for me, I went into that interview and they never asked me any more about it. So I didn't say any more. I'm not going to stand up there unless there's a form to write down specifically any disabilities or anything and say, oh, yeah, hi, I'm Andy Lewis and I've had my leg chopped off and I need help getting up and down the stairs. As far as I was concerned, I wanted to be accepted for who I was. But at that point in time, it was my first job after my accident, the lump that I had in my throat. And just thinking back to that moment now, being in that situation of, hang on, this is my first employment after having my accident. How is this going to pan out? The fact that now I'm quite confident and open to talk about it and get people to talk about their disabilities, and whether that be a learning difficulty or whether that be an actual physical or mental disability or hindrance on yourself. I suppose it's accepting that. But back then, and this is why I talk about life lessons, back then I didn't know that. Back then I didn't feel comfortable in that. And that's why I think it's great that we should have people to talk to and to be able to ask these sort of questions.
What can you tell us about how to achieve your ambitions?
So I've achieved quite a few of my own ambitions, but also Team GB's ambitions, because the Paralympics that I took part in 2016 was a big ambition of mine. And like I said before, it was about goal settings and it was about setting out small steps. And my dad once said to me, had his own business from the age of 16, and he said, one day I was working for him on a Saturday helping out. So it was an MOT, a garage test center, and I was helping out in the cars. And one of the things I said is, as a young lad, I was 14, 15, helping out on weekends and things. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Trying to be the big I am. I want to take over this business one day, etc., etc. And my dad said to me, listen, come here. And he put a ladder up against the ramp. And he said, you see that bottom rung on that ladder? That's you. You've got all them steps to climb before you start telling me what to do. He said, and that's me on that top rung on that ladder, because I've earned to be here and I've earned that. And it sort of made me understand that life and ambitions and setting goals is all about those small individual steps. And everybody is an individual and everybody is unique. And someone, will have this watching this now, a skill that I don't have, and vice versa. And I know from dealing and working with people over the last sort of 4 years, for whether it be mentoring with my company Bespoke Mentoring, or whether that be with on a personal one-to-one coaching point of view, there are definitely people out there better than me and more skills than me that can achieve. So do not ever doubt yourself when you think that you can't achieve something, because you might achieve something that I can't. Just believe in yourself, set those goals out, set those milestones and work towards them. And they can be small, little, tiny goals. It doesn't matter. As long as you can put a tick through them or cross them off, you will feel like you've achieved something.
Finally, Andy, what message do you have for our customers?
For me, a message really that I would like people to sort of take from this is believing in yourself, absolutely, and having a vision. I am a massive firm believer in having a vision and visualizing something. For me, it's very difficult sometimes to write things down. So actually being able to have a picture on a wall or something that I have, to be honest, I drew a picture when I went to Rio. 2 years before the Paralympic Games, I drew a picture and I called it The Road to Rio. And I've still got it today on a piece of scrap paper. I should laminate it really. But that for me was my visualization of where I wanted to go. And along that path, I drew holes in the ground, brick walls, because I knew there was going to be things I would fall in, things I'd have to climb over. And I drew that because I visualized it and I worked towards it. So if you are trying to achieve something now, I'm going to say this. Set out 10 small goals before that main target, that final goal. Tick them off as you go, but also every time before you go to achieve one goal at a time, visualize it. Visualization is the key.